Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Jerrel. Today I want to discuss a topic that is quite important. I think it's something that we generally don't see discussed often, but I think it's very important. So today's topic is how to acknowledge and accept your failures and how to use those as opportunities to grow into a better human being and a better creator. So I'm going to use this game as an example. I'll go ahead and just start the story mode just here, and I just want to preface that the capture card I'm using is not a very good quality one. You'll see a lot of color banding, poor frame rates. The colors are weird. It's a low color depth, so please keep that in mind that this capture card is not very good here. So what we're seeing today, especially just recently, we're seeing people who grew up on Twitter and they live on Twitter and they are proving themselves to be terrible examples to other people, especially to the next generation of young people. These people are throwing tantrums and blaming other people for their failures, and they aren't learning any lessons from that because they are not accepting that they are capable of doing anything wrong, and they believe that they are absolutely perfect and that there is no room for improvement for them. And this is the wrong mentality to have. It is extremely unhealthy, and that's not the mentality of a well-adjusted adult. So today I want to analyze my biggest failure as a game developer, and that is this game, Falls Episode Prelude. And again, it looks pretty pixely and rough here because the capture card is not so good. So in this I actually have a feature. You just press the minus button to toggle between the graphics mode. You can go between best performance. I'll just put best graphics on because it actually doesn't make that big of a difference. So this game did not sell well, and it was the reviews for it were very just overwhelmingly negative. And I had to accept that I made something that just wasn't up to people's expectations. It wasn't what people liked, and it just didn't do well. And I had to accept that I created something that just wasn't good enough. And that is part of advancing through your career. It's part of growing up. It's part of understanding how the world works, and being at peace with how the world works is sometimes you're just going to make things that don't really connect with people. Sometimes you'll make things that just aren't that good. And every chance you have, you must use that opportunity to improve and grow. There's not going to be a lot of humor in today's video, as I want to discuss this topic earnestly and honestly, as this is a serious topic. I want to discuss some things that I'm proud of here, some things that I'm disappointed with, and I want to point out some things that hopefully will help you avoid making similar mistakes. One thing that I personally am quite proud of, is such a small detail, is instead of putting the physics collider box on the character logic itself, I put it on the legs so you can actually just sort of kick things. Whenever I see this sort of physics simulations in video games, I always waste too much time. That's just me as a gamer, and sometimes I'll just, chill out for a while and won't even play the game, and I'll just play around with the physics like this. And I kind of suspect there's going to be gamers out there like me who enjoy doing that. So that's why I sort of throw those sort of things in there. On the left, you'll see a storytelling element. This is the character's mobile device. He is receiving messages from a character. Part of the storytelling mechanic in this is you can either choose to reply or you can ignore him. And the story event plays out differently based on whether or not you respond to your boss's text messages while you've got other things going on. So when you create a game and it is negatively received, you have to accept that there will be some people that like it, and you can't afford to throw that product under the bus because it's disrespectful to the people who like what you've made. My supporters who enjoy my Silver Falls games, I'm on the level with them. I always listen to feedback, and in general, this is the weakest one. This is the worst game that I've made. I'm just going to actually, I better try to speed run this, and then I'll try and get through it so I can show you some things here. So, let's see here. Oops, the camera changed on me. So the people who enjoy Silver Falls, generally they tend to rank this at the bottom by far. This is the weakest one. And there's many different reasons for it. The other games they're more focused and more polished. I don't know if I want this gun. I don't know if I want that. And there was more room for improvement, but I was at a point in development where I just wasn't able to spend that time where I needed and wanted, because there were other things here that took my attention during development, and that's going to happen. You have to accept that sometimes you'll be dealing with logistical issues. So when people say something about negative that you've made, you need to have the strength of character to believe in yourself as an artist, as a developer or writer, and what you create. But you also have to have the humility to understand that you are not perfect and that you may have made a flawed product. You have to listen and understand what people are saying, and you have to decide whether the criticism is right or wrong, because sometimes the criticism that you receive may not actually be that accurate. It may not be fair, but you still have to listen to it and you have to acknowledge it, because there's a very good chance that it is right here. So I'll just take a moment. Now, this is considered a genre game. This is a survival horror, and there exists the concept of genre convention. People expect games of a genre to adhere to the rules of the genre. You can bend the rules to create an exciting and interesting experience, but if you break the rules, you create dissonance, and there's a very strong chance that you'll make a product that is unpleasant. It'll just be something people don't like. There's some items here that I want to take. Is there something here? What else can I take? Any items here? Did I just see an item? No, let's read. Okay. So, one decision that I had made here that didn't really pan out, there's some items here that I would like, is instead of having a health meter on screen, I sort of have this health indicator on the bottom left. You can push the left analog stick in and it will indicate how healthy you are. And the game doesn't explain it. I didn't put any tutorials in, which I understand is a mistake based on feedback. I should have had some tutorials and explanations. And I'll check this. Okay. And that is something that built dissonance, because people were looking for a health bar. Now, the reason I didn't include a health bar is because that detracts from the immersion that is my focus with these kinds of games. And when you have a health bar, you're constantly reminding, you're constantly showing someone this is just a video game. With the Silver Falls games, I'm trying to lean towards the opposite and avoid anything that reminds you that you're playing a game, so that you can focus on just the experience, the vibe, and the story here. So something else that unfortunately caused some dissonance due to defying the genre convention is the pickup items don't shimmer. There's no sparkle to them. I personally don't like it when video games do that. And so I don't do that in my games, especially with Silver Falls, because I want to focus on the immersion. But in this situation, it didn't work out because people just expect the items to shimmer and to have that shoved in their face. Look at this, pick this up. How I implemented it is the camera angle will actually change to point to objects that are important if it's a key item, but the game doesn't explain that. And I have to accept that I just made a decision that wasn't that great for the end user. Were I to make a revision, I would have some tutorials, some tips on the screen that say that when the camera angle changes, it's pointing to things of interest. That is something that I have to learn as a developer because I'm bending the rules. So, okay, now I want to open up my inventory. Hold on, I got to reply to my boss here. If you reply to him, you get more story. If you don't reply, you don't get the whole story. I've got the 2 batteries. Let's go ahead and use those. And something else that received negative reception is the game itself is quite short. I intended this for it to be a standalone focused experience, just a short episode. And I didn't explain that fully. I didn't make it clear, so people were very disappointed when it ended. And people wanted more. They just wanted more out of the game. And unfortunately, feel that I've let down my customers at that point by not explaining it more fully and not delivering something bigger. Let's see here. So now I've got, okay, I'll equip that. Okay. So it is the lack of tutorial. It is defying genre conventions. And I didn't adhere to the expectations that people were expecting out of the genre. And that's because I wanted to try different ideas that I felt would work better to communicate the ideas and the vibe that I was going for. Okay, so I've used the chisel. There's a piggy bank inside the toolbox. I'm going to go ahead and bust this open. Now this game is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, and that means that I had to focus on keeping the visuals feasible for the Switch, and it was extremely difficult to balance out performance with detailed visuals, all while keeping load times low. And it was a huge challenge. So for me, I'm quite proud of what I achieved. But unfortunately, the feedback that I got was that people were saying this is the worst graphics they've ever seen in a game, which is disappointing. And you're just going to have to accept it. Doesn't matter if you've spent 8 years working on something. If you think it's the best thing in the world, if you worked super hard on it, if people say it's the worst thing they've ever seen, you're just going to have to accept it, and you're going to have to listen to the feedback and just move on with your life, and you just improve. There's no point in throwing a tantrum or dwelling on the past. Okay, so I will try to progress through the story now, and we'll see the next area of the game, and I'll just try and speed through it, and I can show you a little bit more of that here. This is using a framework that I created for 3 Down Stars, which is exclusive to the Nintendo 3DS. I enhanced the framework, but unfortunately I wasn't able to implement all of the improvements that I really wanted. And so I just had to accept this is the product that I have at the end of the day. I have to pay my bills, I have studio, I have business fees, and so I had to ship the title. Sometimes you're in a position where you cannot spend any more time. You have to ship the titles to pay the bills, and that's just how it is. And sometimes you'll end up with a product where people really resonate with it, and they understand, okay, I understand the vision of the developer, I'm having fun with the game, and hopefully the game will be updated and improved. And unfortunately, it's my worst game that I've made. It's the weakest one, and it just didn't sell. It basically didn't sell beyond the people that were enjoying Silver Falls. They enjoy the games, and they're really here for the story and the characters. This game is really about the story and the characters. Or the series is about the story and the characters, but for general audience, it just wasn't enough. It didn't give them enough. Something I'm really proud of here is the characters' facial expressions, all the different characters. I was able to create a framework called the Emotion Engine, and it just lets characters have different facial quirks and tics. You'll see the characters sometimes, they'll move their eyebrows a certain way when they're idling, or they'll lick their lips, or they'll sort of stretch their mouth around, or they'll breathe a certain way. I was quite proud that I was able to create a system that allows me as a developer to quickly program those in without having to do a huge amount of manual work. I can do that programmatically in Engine pretty quickly. So I'm just going to look for some items here, and I'm going to speed through this. Okay, I will take the golf club. Hold on, I checked the thing again. Take the golf club, thank you. So I'm just going to speed through this here. I'm quite proud that I'm able to sort of get these environments that I feel they do feel lived in, and I'm quite proud of what I was able to achieve here. So despite the fact that the game was widely negatively reviewed, and they said it was the ugliest thing they've ever seen, and that they just, in general, audiences didn't really enjoy it, while Silver Falls supporters really enjoyed it for the story, I have to accept that. And I also just have to stay focused on how proud I am of what I've achieved. I'm grateful that I have anyone at all enjoying my games. And I'm grateful that anyone at all supports my games, because it is such it's such a special thing to have that connection with someone, for you to be able to make something, even if the world says it's not very good. You've made something that other people can enjoy, and you need to accept that with grace and humility, because you are not likely to create the best thing in the world. It's just not likely to happen, but you can still make something for people to believe in. And that is what I aim for. I aim to create something that people can believe in. Got some nice VHS tapes there on the wall. And if you want to try this, it's available on the Nintendo Switch eShop. I tried to find little moments where I can let the player sit, and the character's health does actually respawn slowly, or not respawn, your health refills slowly when you're sitting. So there are other elements that I would like to discuss as well, but I always try to find photographic moments where I can just let the player breathe. I can let them sit and enjoy the vibe. And I think it's small moments like that where you just get to sit and look around. And there's a poster that says, "Take me to space, baby." It's small moments like this that I really enjoy in games, And he's sort of staring at the poster there. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward now. So I just wanted to make sure that I took enough time so that I could answer all of the boss's text messages. I think I didn't... Okay, so I have some items. Okay, I have the house keys. I want to put this on emergency. And that way, if I get grabbed by an enemy, I can break an emergency weapon and I can break free of that. So I don't have that many items, but I will be leaving now. My planet needs me. Goodbye. So we'll go ahead and rush on to the next part of the game here, the story. There are secret unlockables as well. There's items that you can find in the environment, and if you collect all the items, you unlock a secret outfit for this character. You actually don't have to engage with this enemy, or actually the first one, I think you do. I made it so that you could just run to the car. Okay, so I'll deal with this guy here. So combat is meant to feel, it's meant to make you feel underpowered, and unfortunately that just didn't work out with expectations from players. Is that when players see a third-person camera, they want a game to handle like a third-person shooter. I'll use my emergency weapon. That breaks my hammer. Okay, I think if I run up to him, he's stunned. Okay, I can't do a punch. I'll just hit him with a golf club. I'll gotta try and use it. I'm kind of wishing I had that. I'm wishing that I picked up that black powder gun now that I think about it. So when they're... Again, this is a problem that I didn't explain, is that the combat system is actually really complex. And all of the weapons have properties beyond just doing damage. There's so many different other properties. The enemy's health is low, and once its health is low, it can't run at a high speed. That gives you a chance to take more time to aim carefully. But weapons also have a value that breaks the enemy's armor to an extent. Enemies have a hidden value referred to as armor, so they don't actually take stun until you break the armor. The game doesn't explain that. When the enemy is giving off sort of steam out of their body, they actually cannot be flinched. So you cannot challenge them. You have to try to avoid them when they're steaming like that. Now, in 3 Down Stars, which is my first game on the Nintendo 3DS, it explained all of that. But I was in a position where I couldn't fit a tutorial into this game. And I really should have made more development time for that. So that's a mistake that I have to understand. I made that. I should have put more explanation on that. And the small weapons, just because it's small doesn't mean it's useless. Just because it's a bigger melee weapon doesn't mean it's useless. All the different weapons have different values for armor breaking, for damage, for stun, for usage speed for the player. And then I'll just quickly get through this part. I don't want to play, all day long. This isn't really about playing a video game. It's sort of using it as an example and showcasing it. And it's difficult. It's part of growing up. It's part of maturing, is that you will think that you've just made the best thing in the world. You'll be so proud of it. And you'll have people around you saying, "This is great. You've done the best thing." And you launch it, and it will be something that people say is the worst thing, and they really hate it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. One failure is not the end. What matters is that you can keep growing and improving and getting better. And if it is something that you care about, if it is something that you are truly passionate about, keep going, stick with it. Because if it is something that you care about, then it is absolutely worth doing. And failure is only temporary. And that is something that I had to learn the hard way. A number of my games early on, they just weren't well received. And you just learn and you improve and you keep going, because if it's something you care about, it is absolutely worth doing. There are multiple outfits, alternate outfits you can find. There's a secret one here. If you head to this wheelbarrow, you can get a secret outfit. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. I got a jumpsuit. We might even be able to check that out. Okay, so let me see here. So you can see the environment. Here we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the story section here. Now, before you talk to him, you can steal his sandwich. If you didn't answer all of his text messages, you won't be able to come here. And I think you have to take the gun, otherwise the next section of the game won't play out. And that is a story reason. If you leave that character, if you leave him his gun, the story actually ends here. And if you take his gun from him, then the story continues and you get to play the next part of the... I didn't get to pick up the sandwich. That is so terribly disappointing. I accidentally talked to him instead of taking the sandwich. So I'll just let this play out. And this is the whole point. The whole point is that you spend time with these characters. You get to experience the story, you learn more about them. These characters appear in the other Silver Falls games. They're background characters, and in this standalone episode, they get to take center stage and you spend time with them and you learn a little bit more about them. I always like when you carry a hilarious item into a serious cutscene and they're carrying a golf club while they're having a serious conversation. I always enjoyed that from Dead Rising, where you can wear the most obscene mankini and a moose antlers on your head and have go through a serious cutscene. I guess I'll just get out of the way of the webcam for a second. Alright, anyway, I'll just briefly run through this area and wrap things up. So I hope this video has been interesting to you. Oh, I must have missed something. Okay, so I must have missed something. You're supposed to be able to get to a mountain area after that, and it's a huge environment. But if you would like to try this game, it's currently on sale for, I think, the next maybe less than a week now. So you can pick this up if you're interested in having a look at it. Let me see here. Now, I will actually just show you a little bit. So this is a secondary game mode that's all just battling. Let me go ahead and change my outfit, and you can just have a quick... I think I didn't... Let's see. Yeah, thanks very much for sticking around. I hope this was interesting. I hope it was useful to you. The whole point is that I hope I can help you with your journey as a game developer, and I can help you avoid making the same mistakes that I've made. So again, if you'd like to try this, it's on sale on the Nintendo Switch eShop. But if you would like a copy of the game and you just don't have the budget for that right now, you can send me a DM, find out where to send me a DM, and I'm happy to arrange a download ticket and I can get a copy for you. Battle mode is just meant to be a bit of fun. You get to collect a whole bunch of different weapons. They can have random skills attached, and it's just about beating up a bunch of enemies and doing cool loadouts, and you get to play as other characters as well. So anyway, I hope this has been interesting for you. Thanks very much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, be well, and enjoy some games. Enjoy the games that you like, and have some fun. Okay, I'll see you around.